and welcome to Election Night, May 2025. I'm your host, Bushray123, joined by Teaspoon, Pokezilla, and Deni Heathcote, who is not with us right this second.
Yes, I am.
Right, we have started ever so slightly late, so we are going to head right over to the exit poll right now. Hopefully, it's got something interesting to say. Of course, set the mood for the night. So let's take a look in just a second, just before it goes 8 o'clock. Right, okay, we are back. For those who did not see that very short exit poll reveal, we have uh, 15 seats for the Unionist Party, 12 seats for the Pirate Party, 12 seats for the Social Democrats, and 11 seats for the National Party. Of course, that's a very, simplified prediction of what will be a complicated night. But can we get some initial thoughts from any member of the panel who'd like to introduce themselves and kick off the night?
12 from the Pirates is kind of crazy. I think the general trend from most people was that Pirates would be dropping here, but they seem to be sort of on par with other parties.
I mean, what I will say is this, that the entire campaign has been so underwhelming, it's really no shock that, the largest party, according to that exit poll, is a 15-seat Unionist party, which is... I think if I was any of the party leaders and this was the result, I would be staring into the mirror all night wondering, what the hell I'm doing, because that's just... Especially now that we're obviously coming out of a Lord's government, which pretty much did all the Commons work for a month. This is just... I think it's just humiliating, really, for all of them. And I think what I will say, actually, on top of this, right, is if this was the actual result, the party which has been, I guess, has come out of the best sort of plan and manifesto kind of thing, which seems to be the Nationals from, political discourse, or at least it indicates that. They're apparently getting the least amount of seats according to this, which is just... I don't really have much of a comment. I don't know if I can put the feeling into words, T and Bushbraid. I don't think I can put the feeling into words.
Maybe we should hear it from the horse's mouth.
Very interesting.
We've just come in that the confirmed turnout for the election is 379 votes, which is 2 less than the 381 last election. So we've actually got less turnout than the last election, which was quite poor as well.
I'm surprised it's actually...
And is that any surprise to anyone, though?
Not
every
really.
party came into this campaign with the most lackluster platform imaginable. No one did anything.
I'm surprised it's only 2 less. I thought it'd be a lot more less, personally.
I agree. I thought it'd be a lot less.
Yeah, honestly, it should have been less. It should have been less, honestly.
Because
less. I don't think any party has done anything to deserve any kind of vote share. That's probably a controversial opinion, but they haven't.
No, it's not.
This has been an underwhelming election. They had a month to prepare, and they've have nothing to show for it. So
I assume quite demotivating for party leaders after their parliament was shut down and given to the Lords. That probably killed off quite a lot of spark in cabinet.
Every single party leader should be ashamed of themselves seeing this, because the fact of the matter is, even if you had a dead Lord's government and a dead party where you had a Lord's government that basically killed the Commons, you had a month to prepare for this. and you did
For sure.
jack shit. And
Yeah.
this shows you the jack shit. Because I mean I can speak for the Social Democrats because I'm still in them. I can guarantee that campaign they ran did not have more than a week's preparation for it. Guaranteed.
Definitely.
Guaranteed that.
What I will say though is that I will like condemn any like a political figure who tries to sort of put the blame here at the feet of the Lord's government that we've just had for a month, because again, that was a month without the Commons, right? That's a month without spending 2 hours of a weekend in Parliament doing question time, writing legislation, passing legislation, government duties throughout the week for any parties that would have otherwise been in government. They had a month to turn around to the British people and say, we know we did bad things. Government's collapsed. It got so bad to the point that the Lords had to step in. We hear you, and we're going to give you something different. The parties had a month to prepare something different, and I don't think any of them have delivered. And I feel like that shame should rest on the shoulders of party leaders and like the parties themselves.
I absolutely agree.
As much as I want to sit here and say, oh, they'll change. As much as I want to sit here and say they'll reflect, they won't. They had a month to reflect and they didn't. What's 2 months of a new government in the Commons
What
going to
we
do?
all think is going to happen in the coming terms? Do we think they're gonna? Do you think the turnout's going to go back up? Do we think we're going to see that drive from? Or do we think people are just going to resign, get bored because it's dead? What do we think?
I think it will eventually recover. There's always new faces that enter the political scene, and we are ultimately heading towards summer at this point. Yes, we're heading into an exam season, so there will be a natural, dip, of course. But by the time of, I think, July and August, we will see a bit more energy back, but I think it will be a lot more reduced than usual. The summer of 2020 is long gone now. That was weird to think about, but that was 5 years ago now. Though that period is gone. And while summer is obviously usually a time of activity and energy, I think we'll still see that just in a very reduced format. So I don't think this is like a death knell for politics. I do think, though, that the next 2 months are going to be a struggle, I think. If it wasn't already a struggle, I think it's going to continue to be a struggle, which is a really big shame considering the amount of changes and reform that we saw in the last month done by, again, massive credit to the Lords for actually giving up their time, especially, obviously, the fucking Earl of Flanders changing, like, Lord's title every weekend at this point. Putting in the time to actually reform the system, and I hope parties actually capitalise on that in the next 2 months. But there's no indication of that so far.
I'll tell you what I'll say. I think I answered what Dean said. I think it's a death bell for creativity for what I've fucking seen. Because every single party here there's no party in this election I can genuinely claim to have proposed like an actual clear plan for change in the country. They can't. They simply can't. And they had an entire month to get to actually come up with some policy, and they all could have done this. Even if at the moment politics is dead, we have where the people active in parties are not as big as they would be in 2020 or 2021. You have the manpower for in a month to prepare an actual plan for change, and no party, from what I can see, has actually done that. And that's not the Lords' fault. You could even if the Lords weren't there, this problem would still happen because because creativity is dead in politics at the moment. There's absolutely none of it, and I think everyone agrees with that.
Now with our moan over the fact that the parties are a bit dead, let's move on to actually living in the moment. And what do we think of the exit poll? Do we think it's going to be accurate? Does anyone have any other views?
First of all, before I begin, I'd like to say I apologise, Dean Mark, for mistitling you. That's the thing. It's like the political equivalent of misgendering, mistitling. It's a Marquess of Brandenburg. But anyway, to answer your question, though, I think it's accurate in that I don't think any party will have a particularly large lead because none of them have done anything to deserve it in terms of the actual grounds campaign and showing off, I guess. I think there's going to be quite a close gap between all four of the parties because they have just all been equally dull. And I think what we might end up seeing is that we'll see the results reflect I think the Discord servers, if that makes sense, because a lot of this result is going to be a reflection of the GoTV efforts that parties do internally in their server, as opposed to the amount of people they've gained throughout the campaign, because there's not really been much of that. That's my prediction.
What I will say is I think the exit poll itself, from what I'm looking at right now, I think what we'll end up with is Unionists and the Nationals as two large parties, is my prediction. I know that, and I just think, I don't know. I think Nationals actually done quite well this election, actually, like mobilising their voter base, which is something I've actually criticised them a lot for in the past, where they just don't seem to be able to do that effectively. They've done it effectively this election, I think.
I definitely think Pirates will be lower than they are on that exit poll.
Can we count?
Pirates sounds realistic.
Can we count the amount of times that I said the Nationals were like on death's door on the many election nights that I did with Blair?
At least
the amount of
15,
times I said this might be the election where the Nationals get murdered, and they are still alive, and they appear to have, again, in the sort of in political discourse, at least among I think a lot of people who are involved in politics, I think they can kind of agree that the Nationals did put on like the best show out of the four parties. I mean, the manifesto was a good read. Like, don't get me wrong, it's not exactly like amazing, groundbreaking, revolutionary, but it was, the better of, I guess, the four platforms. Yeah. I think quite a few people would agree on that. So
I'd agree on that.
Yeah, so in that respect, I think the National was under Stewart. Like, I think it has to be commended, the amount of like what he has done for the party ever since that period of kind of being bludgeoned by the other parties and just generally being like a state of disrepair, and the founding figures like William Marina looking down on the party. I think Stewart has kept things together, and I think he's rebuilt things, and I think that has to be commended. So, a part of me really wants to see Stewart in a good position in the coming Parliament. I think there is quite a big political future for him in Parliament. I can't really say the same for the other party leaders right now. Obviously, Harold's a long-time veteran, but you get what I mean.
There is actually a good question there, which is that, like, do any of you see any part in the leaders resigning after this? Because I don't personally. No matter what.
I think if the Pirates, if they get bludgeoned, Sean will resign. It really depends on how well he's done to again get the vote out from whoever is in their server.
Character. It took him quite a lot to resign.
I'd be surprised if Sean resigned. I'm not gonna lie to you, because what I'd say is if Sean resigns, who else is there? There's Cherry.
It's true, I guess, but I feel like leaders do sometimes stay on because of an absence of succession. That was, I think, a big motivating factor for why I didn't resign Labour back when I ran Labour for the first time in 2021, 2022. So I guess in that respect, I can see Sean staying on. Harold, I can see staying on. Even in a bad result, Harold does seem like the kind of person to say, right, we weren't expecting much out of this election. I'm going to stay on. We're going to be in a better place soon. Don't you worry. Stiff upper lip.
One word. Their leaders stay on for a long time. And they just sort of sit as they go through the motions.
If I was to predict like one leader who would resign, like if I was any of the four, I'd say hierarchy. That's the one I'd say. I don't think that. I'm not saying that means I think he'll resign. I don't think he actually will. But I think if any of them is the most likely to, I think it's him. Because I think
do we want to listen to a comment I've got over text from V Hierarchy regarding the comments of having a month to prepare?
Go ahead.
He says that it's a bit ridiculous because all the leaders have collectively agreed about putting exams first. It's not the Lord's fault, but political discourse is dry, and almost all leadership structures in all parties are sitting major exams this month. So he's put it to exams, which
I'm sorry, but
mate,
that's what
that is why your party board exists. That's why That's why the leaders do all the policy.
You say right. I have to argue against this point because you've had more time than any other leader would have ever had for any election period prior to an exam. You would have had a whole month without the Commons. I cannot see that being a credible excuse. I'm sorry, because unless you're spending 24/7 of your hours sitting at a table reading up on geography, then I don't see that excuse. I'm sorry. I feel like that is an excuse for laziness and not trying. I would like to emphasize here, I hope people do amazing in their exams. And I wish everyone who is sitting an exam, in the next 2-3 months, I wish them the best of luck, slay. But I don't think that's an excuse to not put in energy in this community when you make that commitment in the first place to lead a party into the elections that this community puts on, especially when you had a whole month without any political responsibilities in the House of Commons or in government to do anything. Like, you had all that time. I don't think it's a credible excuse. I'm sorry.
And also, to add to this, it's not like the leader's the only one making the policy. You have about, like, I can tell you in the social media, they got the party leader, deputy leader, the chairman, but like you've got at least 3 people there who can like make major decisions on like actual policy to do. You cannot use exams as a excuse when there's probably a lot of your party who don't actually have exams this year. So, and who are able to have the time to actually like develop policy and all this sort of stuff. And also, as Dean said, then if exams are an issue, don't lead your party into exam season. That is not like you could always just resign and then just say, hey, I've got exams coming soon. Everybody be like, oh yeah, sure, that's fine.
Yeah, there's no shame in that. No one would shame you for that. Like, it would be respectable. If anything, there was a time where that was encouraged, and I'm pretty sure it still is encouraged. So
it's still encouraged.
Okay,
Please,
just to
yeah.
Over for a second on a logistical point. We're expecting the first few results very soon. We are also live from Westbridge, Clayton Park. If you want to take a look, there we are. Stream is up there. Live results will be coming in there, and of course on stream. Hopefully, we get the first few very shortly. Okay.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I just think, like, harking on to a point earlier, and again, like, sort of continuing on that thread of party leaders having a month here to do something. Ultimately, when you become a party leader in this community, you do so for a reason. And I think a big reason of that is obviously, 1, to probably become prime minister, but 2, to also have a bit of a legacy and to have something to call your own. And that was certainly something that, I used to do. And I think a lot of party leaders, I mean, Bush, you probably as well, and Teaspoon, you as well, as like former national leaders, you want to leave something behind. You want to leave like behind a remarkable legacy.
We have the first result. The first result is in.
Oh, go ahead.
County Durham is a Social Democrat whole. So Bush put that
Sid's going to be happy.
They've got the first seat up. Unfortunately, I
prefer
the old MPs because
I prefer not to speak.
Decided to purge the bloody Parliament spreadsheet, but obviously first one of the night.
If I speak, I'm in big trouble.
One. Lincolnshire National Hold.
Lincolnshire is a national hold. There we are.
These are all going to be holds for like the first 10 seats, just so we're all aware. Unless combatants listening to this and changes it up.
Unless you want to spice up a little bit, they will all be.
Yeah. But to wrap up my thoughts very quickly, you become a party leader to leave something behind, do something remarkable, and you make that commitment. And I feel like if you're a party leader and you're given a whole month to basically do whatever you want without having to be in the Commons or do things in government, I feel like you would use that time, especially when you have exams. I feel like you would think, right, I have exams soon. Let me do all the preparation now so I have less work to do during the election week. Like, surely that would be the thinking, right? But it seems like not a single party did that. Like, it seems the Nationals obviously sort of did, but it doesn't look like any of the parties did. So I'll finish that thought there.
What a dead campaign. Fuck me.
I mean, I didn't want to say it, but yeah, what a dead campaign.
I will say it. I'll gladly say it.
If you're going into an exam season, don't see why you would stay on as party leader if you're going into exams. But
okay. Anyway,
yeah, I think Stuart was. I can't say for sure, but I'm pretty sure Stuart didn't have exams, which is why maybe the campaign had a bit more effort into it. But
I think one thing I also want to say is that the Lord's government really raised the bar of what is considered like actually doing reforms to the political system and to things in the community. And it doesn't look like a single party took that on board. It just looks like they all saw what the Lord's government did and went, okay, well, guys, it's okay. We can still make pledges about changing up awards and stuff, guys. We can still get away with this in 2025. Let's slap on another pledge about changing up the grommets. Let's pledge another award as if that's revolutionary.
Mock trials in the Big 25 is crazy.
That's coming from your manifesto as well, wasn't it?
Probably. I'll be honest with you, I forgot which ones with policies are was my manifesto. Fuck knows. Fuck knows at this point.
We are so
Okay,
cooked.
Right. Ofcom has actually just taken down the stream, I believe.
What?
That's a joke. Do we want
Oh.
to bring someone up? Do we want? Let's move on from the "we hate every party ever" kind of rhetoric.
Yeah.
Yep.
Kingmaster.
Can we talk to Mr. Boost
Dear
as me?
God, let's. How do I bring this guy up? Invite to speak.
We're just going to keep him on for a couple minutes just to save the
We
sanity.
have got a sequel from Cheshire,
No.
which is a unionist gain from the Pirate Party.
Oh,
Here we
Drax, I
go.
love that.
Unionist
Personally,
gain
Interesting.
I
from
think
the
that was a
Pirate
bit of a
Party.
theme today. The unionist.
Fun fact about that seat: that is the former seat of William Arena. I believe he had Cheshire during his premiership and
that's correct.
during when I led Labour.
Also, I thought you said this week all holds, Dean. You're actually wrong on this. So
I think.
Oh, did I?
probably heard
Am
that.
I wrong?
yeah, you're wrong, mate. Mate, bloody hell, Dean.
Wouldn't be the first
Bloody
time.
hell.
Okay, Kingmaster, you there?
Hello, yep. How you doing?
Good, thanks. What are your thoughts? Election night. How are you feeling?
Well, obviously, I wasn't really surprised with the low turnout. It happens. But I'm a bit shocked that every political party obviously had a month to prepare for this, and there was no campaigning. I mean, really, when you look at other
Could we just
elections
have the
that we've had,
confirmation as to what party you represent, just so everyone knows?
the National Party. But I'm going to try to be as unbiased as possible. Obviously, for the majority of my, if you can even say that, political career, because, I mean, who takes Roblox that seriously to call it a career? You look at it and you think, every single election before this, we've had active campaigns, and now, what has happened? It seems as though such a great government, and I'm a big fan of the Lord's government, it has slowed down politics a little,
Thank you.
and
for
it's quite shocking.
Sorry to interrupt, but we have Rochdale and Bolton, which is a national hold. One of many holds, I'm sure we'll see, as Dean said. But yes,
Sorry, how do we get into Clayton Park? I'm stuck outside.
that's kind of embarrassing to say live on air, Teaspoon.
What do you mean? How do you get into Clayton Park?
It's a
No, because there's like
public.
this
Are you
invisible
special?
wall that's blocking me. It's like a glowing invisible wall.
And Essex.
I mean, hold on.
Coast
I
is a
want to
unionist
quickly
hold.
level a question. Oh, sorry about that. Go on, Bush.
Essex Coast is a unionist hold. That's what we've got to say.
All right.
Go on.
I was going to ask Kingmaster a question, actually. Just pulling on something you said, Kingmaster, about the Lord's government slowing things down, and I guess, like you would say, that it demotivated party leaders. Would you say?
Well, obviously, we have 4 leaders, and pretty much all of them have been elected in the past 2-3 months. So it's like a new era for the politics in this group. Obviously, some of them less experienced than others. Like, when you look at the leaders list, one person in particular interests you the most, and that is the hierarchy. He, in my opinion, no disrespect to him, but he got that job way too soon, because he doesn't have enough experience, in my opinion, to take on that role. Because the
Sorry,
Social
can I-
Democrats,
So can I say something in a minute? To be fair, I'm not defending hierarchy, but to be fair, weren't you foreign secretary without any actual foreign experience?
that is correct, but when you're actually a proposed prime minister, which is a completely different proposition to foreign secretary, then it's a completely different story. Because, I mean, I've been foreign secretary, and you have the Foreign Office Advisory Board to help you. You have obviously the diplomatic staff, who are very experienced, by the way, very good people. You have Charles, who's a really good permanent secretary who handles most of you. the UK's relations in the UN. And the foreign secretary job does not compare to a prime minister job, which is to lead a government effectively. Because if you have someone who's only been DCMS secretary for 13 days become prime minister, when you have someone, for example, like Stuart, or Harold, or even Shan, you can say, who have drastically more experience than the hierarchy. I mean, it really shows, because if Social Democrats win right now, he's going to be prime minister.
I think
And
that's
we're
what
going
the
to have
result
a
yes,
prime
shows.
minister.
Yes, he will promise if they win.
Northumberland hold-
Yeah, thank you very
And
much.
we're going to have a
Northumberland
prime
is held by
minister.
the National Party.
Yeah, as Stu saying, Northumberland is a national hold. So quick recap. Nationals are leading at the moment on 3 seats. The Unionists following shortly behind
Interesting.
2, Social Democrats 1, and the Pirates on 0.
Guys, I put
Mhm.
my prediction's going to come true. Watch my prediction come true.
I just want to ask a quick follow-up question again
Yep.
to Kingmaster here. Going a little bit off topic here, Kingmaster. I just want to quickly gather your thoughts on the Armenian genocide very quickly.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
That's just something I
No
want to inquire
comment.
about while
No
we've got you here.
comment. No comment.
Let's not
Yeah,
inquire
okay,
about
that's a
that.
good,
It's
good
completely
point to call it
unrelated.
there. Thank you very much, Kingmaster, for coming on.
No problem.
Yeah.
That's another result, Bush. That's Merseyside is a Social Democrat.
Thank you very much, T, for pointing that out. Merseyside is...
Can we bring Mr. Boos up for actually? No, let's bring What Are You Looking At P, because he is a
Yeah, Mole, that's how
Social
you speak.
Democrat. So
I'd
after
like to see what a Social Democrat
Kingmaster's
to say.
What? Wait,
hello,
is
yeah.
he?
So after Kingmaster's
Is he?
attacks
Oh,
at these
oh yeah.
Social
Wow,
Democrats,
sorry.
let's hear what they've got to say.
Mole, are you there?
After Kingmaster's
What? Wait,
hello.
is he?
After Kingmaster's
Hello? Mole?
Yeah, I'm there.
Oh, perfect. How are you doing? What are your thoughts? Let's hear it all. Come on.
Yeah, so sorry, I didn't quite hear you. What's
Wait,
up?
sorry, just quickly. Again, we've got another unionist gain from the Pirates in Oxfordshire.
Here we go.
Second unionist gain from Pirates tonight.
Oh, damn. Anyways, yeah, how are you doing tonight?
Very good. Very good.
Doing good. I would just like to say, Mole, just to clarify, I have been told by the Social Democrat headquarters, I think, that you are not an official representative of theirs. So, just to clarify, we're bringing you on as a representative of the Democratic Socialists instead. So, I hope that's a quick clarification.
Is your name? Is your name Mole? Or is it Morale? I never like. Is it Mole?
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm not an official representative. Sorry for not clarifying that. Yeah, I know Mark Fremwell is very pissed at me right now. So yeah.
You're all good. But let's have your thoughts. What are you thinking? How are you feeling for the Social Democrats as a supporter, I guess?
Mal, my name is Mal Polkasilla. Yeah, so my thoughts are, yeah, the campaign has been pretty pale, but to be fair, the activity as a whole the last few weeks and months has been pretty rough, pretty low, to be honest. If you are gonna compare yet in today's election with, for example, last year's election in spring, the May election, you can see that we've gone down with activity, and yeah, it's pretty sad to see. But I do believe and I do hope that with the next week coming in, that activity will pick up, and eventually we will really reach a state of politics in the summertime where obviously there will be creative parties again, and where activity will be high again. So yeah.
Well, thank you very much
Yeah, I
for that.
think
We've
we've got
got
a
a
couple
couple
of
seats
news
come in.
Yeah.
We have the Peak
down.
District, which is a national hold, and Tayside and Fife, which is a Social Democrat gain from the Pirate Party. The Pirates.
That's an interesting
still
result.
On 0
Could
seats.
you give us a summary, Bushbury? By any chance?
Absolutely. Ooh, pirate hold in Richmond upon Thames. The first pirate seat of the night, meaning we currently have 4 national seats, 3 unionist seats, 3 social democrat seats, and 1 pirate seat. Nothing out of the ordinary.
just-
Oh, and another one in.
Yeah, that was Richmond upon
Another.
Thames.
Yeah, the exit poll looks good as it is at the moment.
Yeah, it's not too far off. It it can change a lot at the very end, as it usually does. As the EC likes to play its games.
Yeah. So, do we want to bring on Pokemon because we haven't heard anything from the pirates? I think that could be interesting. All right, Pokemon, come on up, mate. Hello.
Yo, family.
Could we start with your thoughts on the exit poll? 'Cause it predicts you decently high, I think.
Oh, bloody hell, yeah, we're going to get 12 seats this election, mate.
So, do you think that's a likely possibility, or?
Are you trying to have a laugh here? We are not getting 12 seats on any earth, mate.
At least you're honest. At least you're honest.
Yeah, you're cooked, Fluff. You're cooked.
We had a few hard hits with a few community moderation issues, and that gave us a bit of a setback. So,
Your entire party.
A little bit of a setback.
well,
We're looking
it's
at
best to be
catastrophic
honest
setback
than me
here.
sit here and say we're going to get 15 seats. We're going to be Prime Minister, bloody First Secretary of State. It's unlikely. Just got to be honest.
So Pokemon. I've been asked that Harold wants to do a small little live debate on air.
It can do, but I don't see much point to it considering, well, the elections happen now.
Pussy.
No, I'm
Be
saying
nice.
we can do. I'm not fussed.
Genuine question, Pogue. Actually, considering you obviously believe that the Pirates are going to be thrashed harder than Mia Khalifa after this,
Oh, dear God.
after tonight. I guess the question here now is, what next for the Pirates? Do you think?
Well, reform and rebuild, really. Only way we can go about it. We've got to build our numbers back up, build our systems back up, and we've just got to improve the party. All our current campaigners, we're starting a mentorship scheme for them. So we're going to train the future of MPs, basically.
I mean, do you even have any teachers left?
I was about to say, like, is there anyone actually left to teach them?
Well, we have a few. I'd say we did lose a lot of our experienced people, a lot of our potential cabinet. We've had to bring in some old people this term, some new people. It has been difficult.
Sorry, I do want to interrupt with some seat declarations. One being very interesting. We have, first of all, a unionist hold. I can't see the name. And then Norfolk and Peterborough, which is a national gain from the Unionist Party, and then Leicester and Northants, which is a national hold. Bringing up the
I mean, if
Nationals up to
any
6
nationals
seats.
listening in right now, prepare your champagne.
I know, it is sounding like a good night for the Nationals, but very early on. We'll see how it goes. The seat I was talking about was a Warwickshire, which is a Unionist hold. Going back to the panel, very sorry to interrupt.
How many seats have been declared now?
Ooh, quick maths, 14.
Right, there's time to recover from this.
Definitely, loads to go.
Mate, you are not recovering from this.
But
Let's not.
if I were to
not
say this,
recovering
yeah.
I mean, actually, one question I will raise, Pokemon. the pirates are in such a state, right, that the party's founder, Baron Frederick Shaw, who is an individual I have a massive amount of respect for, having seen his campaign, his career over many years, has obviously came out sort of at the start of the campaign and said that the pirates are basically a shadow of their former self, and that they basically should cease to exist, and that they basically no longer are what they originally were, essentially. And I just want to get your thoughts on that, and whether or not you think the rebrand should have happened sooner. The planned rebrand, I believe, to the Liberal Party that Sean had
I
planned.
will just say the Pirates
Yeah.
have just held Somerset and Buckinghamshire, bringing them up to 3 seats.
Yes. All right. So rebrand. Should it have happened earlier? No, I don't think so. What the Pirate Party has, I feel it's always been. It's been about the values that people such as SLP, Burund, even Boston. I'd say at first, I don't think he quite had them values, but he built on himself. He came and he built upon them values, and he really added something to the party. And I feel like that's what makes the Pirate Party. But with all them such influential and important people gone now, I'd say the Pirate Party isn't what it used to be. It can't be called the Pirate Party anymore, because that's not what it is. So I think this is the perfect time for the rebrand. Straight after the election, we'll have taken a hard hit, admittedly, but from there we can build on it. We can change, and there's still time to turn everything around.
Genuine question as well. Do you believe the Pirates deserve this? Where the way things are going, do you think the Pirates deserved it?
I don't think we deserve this. I think this is, well, a spite of Boston. Boston was someone who bought a lot of people in. Then after the whole stuff with him, he had people turn his backs on him, and he, as a result, launched basically strikes against the party. And since then, we've had big losses from that.
Yeah, but if it's say something here, right? You say the Pirates don't deserve this, and yet you say Boston leaving was a massive or your supporters disappear. You could have kept those supporters. Realistically, you could have kept those supporters, but you obviously didn't. So I don't.
Pokemon,
So
can I ask a question, Pokemon? Why did you not run for pirate leader?
good question.
I literally got politics banned.
He was politics banned, to be fair.
I got politics banned
I forgot
hours
that.
before I was going to run.
Sorry
Wait,
to
so hold
interrupt.
on.
We
In
have,
that sense,
sorry, seat
oh, yeah, go
declarations.
for
Suffolk, which is a national hold, as well as Exeter and the Jurassic Coast, which is a unionist hold. Please continue.
Yeah, so Pokemon, in that sense, just like this might be a bit of a forward question, but do you reckon you could see yourself staging some sort of coup on Shah?
Bloody
If you
hell, T.
resign, would you be going
Bloody
back?
hell, T.
What a place that would be to announce it.
That isn't quite my style.
I mean,
of
Suella
doing things.
Braverman did something similar, like when Boris Johnson got ousted, I'm pretty sure.
Pokemon is
Yeah,
Government.
definitely not my style of doing things. If it does come to the point where Sean does resign, assuming it's past GCSE period, I will run for leader. But if it's still during GCSE period, I'll have to take some heavy consideration into it.
In other news,
Mhm.
Medway, is a national hold.
I think my prediction is coming true.
A strong
What, you
start
think
for the National
will
Party, of course. But yeah, I think I have to agree that it could happen.
And suddenly the Pirates are on 17 seats. We've just formed a three-way coalition government. No, get an update here. Four-way coalition government.
We are getting reports, actually, that the Forward Party has come back and has actually won a 40-seat majority.
Ah, shit.
And for some real results, Manchester is a Social Democrat hold.
As expected.
Definitely.
Manchester.
Bloody Mancunians.
Bunch of lefty tossers, one might say.
It's Angry Ginger in the
Anyway.
SD pie.
Should we get the bookies in here and start taking bets on how many seats Pirates are losing tonight then?
I mean, you joke about this, Pokemon, but like you yourself are a pirate. You know, you're here to represent them, to kind of at least save a little bit of face, you know. And we're not getting a lot of that tonight from you, are we?
Well, you see, politics now, I see it as way too serious, way too toxic. But what it is, it's a Roblox game. It's about.
No,
having a
no,
bit
I'm
of
actually going to
fun.
challenge you on this point because you say that things are too serious. Have you looked in the party channels for the last few weeks and seen the absolute slop that some party representatives post, and they consider that to be their official messaging? I mean, you
Even
yourself are
before,
guilty of this.
To be honest, Dean,
So-
even before, when they were doing these, especially it started with Persian, when they write these paragraphs, but no one would read them. It's
At least
I'm
they
happy
had
that
the
we're starting to
meaning.
go back a bit to Twitter posts. I don't know why we.
I mean,
never went to-
I completely despise the fact that everyone's suddenly gone to doing paragraphs on their party channels. That is the
Like,
whole
I'm sorry,
point
but
of political discussion. That is where they should be, not in bloody party
You know what?
channels.
you know what? No. I can actually tolerate the paragraphs. What I don't tolerate
I
is
hate paragraphs.
the constant like shit posting in the channels. And I know that I am a former social democrat here, so this is going to be a little bit alien of me to say, but I'm a speaker candidate now. I am officially independent as of the start of this campaign, and I am going to say this. But I think the social democrats are a massive offender of this and all. And a good friend of mine, Scripted Sid, has fallen into this trap of posting just slop in the channel, and I think it's just disgraceful when people look at the party channels and think, oh boy, I'm a young adolescent who's interested in British politics. Yeah, oh, I love stuff like David Cameron and Ed Miliband. Oh boy, they're my idols. And they look at these channels and want to see like, oh, what are people on Discord doing, you know, in terms of Roblox UK politics? And they see all of this slop as like official correspondence from the parties. I think it's just stupid. Like, it's genuinely stupid, and it like.
Yeah.
And these are the same parties that write absolute slop for manifestos now and have like no ideas and no innovation. And they give us all this meme and shit posting instead. I think it's disgraceful. Parties need to professionalize. They need to get serious again.
I completely agree. I think since Forward UK especially, I think that's been a trigger Forward UK for basically the entire shit posting where we see like. I mean, doing parties just post.
I hate to interrupt, but we have got a lot of seats now. We have Lancashire, a Social Democrat hold, Cambridge and Bedfordshire, a Unionist hold, Sussex, a Unionist hold, Bradford and Leeds, which is a national gain from the Social Democrats. As well as
All right, hold on.
Enfield,
I need
Social
to
Democrat
have a little bit. I need to have a little bit of a like an argument through my phone here at Scripted Sid, because I saw that his reply was that if you think that people are looking at these channels for political inspiration, then like you don't know. And like what I will say is this: when people join the community, right, they join the Discord server, they maybe play Westbridge a little bit. The first thing they'll see in terms of like the political side will be like the government channel, the parliament channel, and obviously the politics category. That channel is like the first thing a person is going to see when they see that party, right? That's like the first port of call. That'll be like one of the first things they see, because you don't have DM campaigning anymore. And like maybe the other way they'll see the party is there are people holding signs in the game, which doesn't exactly tell them a lot. The first thing they really see is going to be that channel. In the past, it would have been the campaigning channel, which, you know, was shared by all the parties, which was, in my opinion, a better system, but we're going to move. The first thing they see is that channel. And if that channel is full of low quality slop that is just memes and calling the other party fat, that is a problem. That is a problem. If you don't see that as a problem, you're part of the problem.
Yeah, that is definitely a problem, but I feel like there needs to be a fair balance in there. You can't have it too serious, you can't have it too fun.
Yeah, there's obviously balance. I agree with that, but it should be more than just calling the other party fat. Like,
I agree. Yeah, the balance that you're talking about, Pokemon, is literally going back to what it always used to be, where it was in your party channels, you post tweets that are like political attacks against your opponents, and graphics and manifestos. That is what it basically was, and that is the way that it always should have been until people decided, oh no, I'm going to write paragraphs and I'm going to say everyone's fat, and I'm going to say all this nonsense. I mean, like, the whole point of your political channel is to get people to join a party. It is not to go and call Alexander Arden the fattest little shit you ever seen in your life. That is not the point. And it's not going to, and I can guarantee you this, it's not going to get people to join your party. I can guarantee you that. Because the reason I joined the Social Democrats originally, Even if
To be
it's true,
fair-
which it is.
Fair-
But
fair
the
enough,
reason,
but
the
there
reason I joined the reason why I joined Social Democrats was because I saw the Social Democrat channel under 21 Archies, and I liked the manifesto, and I liked the graphics, and I liked the actual tweets he did, and that's why I joined. And that's something everyone else joins.
I'd
And that
just
is
like to interrupt with a spew of results that have all gone to the Social Democrats, that being South River, Strathclyde and Birmingham. All 3 seats have gone to the Social Democrats, bringing them up to 9, tying with the National Party.
Quick message from myself as, like speaker to be to the people of Birmingham. My condolences.
Well, it's Birmingham, mate. You got some condolences for anyway.
Oh yeah, good point. They're actually all dead anyway.
Oh, and now the cities of London and Westminster, a Social Democrat gain from the Pirate Party, placing the Soc Dems into the lead with 10 seats.
I personally think this is a troll. I don't think Social Democrats are going to hold this at all, personally. And that's from a Social Democrat myself. I don't think they're going to hold this.
We'll see. 10 seats, if that's the final number for the night, they probably won't be very happy. But it's a good start nonetheless. Kingmaster wanted to ask you, Poke, a question, so who am I to say no? King, are you there? Have you got your question?
I'm gonna be very quick. Pokemon,
better
how
not.
does it feel like to be cucked for leader of the Pirates 3 times in a row?
3 times in a row.
Yes.
I have only ran once. I ran
No.
against Boston, where it was quite close, closest
Yeah.
pirate election in history, and then I couldn't run against Sean, so
I
it is
swear
what
you
it is.
I swear you ran against Sean the first time, or was that am I making that up?
Yes.
Ooh,
No,
I don't
I don't
remember
think
if
he
I did
ran
or not.
actually, because that was when. But nonetheless, just have to say one thing. My mate asked me to say
My mate.
Manchester is a dump and it rivals Nairobi for slumness. And he asked me to say that Lincolnshire is the capital of common sense.
So by that,
So
you
yeah,
mean
that's for you,
right
right
on.
on.
Told you to say
Damn,
That's
that.
for
bloody-
you. That's
yeah.
for you.
You got the whole squad laughing there, bro. That's crazy.
Anyway,
Yep, thank
thanks
you.
for that.
Can we bring on
Master.
Mr. Bruce by any chance? I feel like we can
Go
get some
ahead.
real political.
I
Oh,
will,
fucking
while that's being
hell.
sorted and Kingmaster is being shown the door, I will say there has been 3 Unionist holds, Hampshire and White, the Cotswolds, Bromley and Havering, and then a pirate hold in Highland and Grampian.
Get in there! Get in!
What a
Fuck
night.
all you.
What a night.
Bro, he's celebrating holds. He's celebrating holds.
The Highlands and Islands, that's my constituency.
He's
I love the
celebrating
Highlands
holds.
Okay, let's get Mr. Beast on. Come on. Mr.
Finally,
Beast, are you
I've
there?
arrived. Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Hold on. How many seats are the Pirates on right now?
4.
I think 4.
Just to
And
update.
Pokemon just yelled out, "Yes, get in there!" on 4 seats.
honestly, they will take any victory. They will take any victory tonight.
They've got
It's the
nothing
Highlands.
left.
Highlands and Islands, my seat, I can cheer all I want.
It hasn't been declared yet, Highlands and Islands.
I think Baron is turning his grave seeing this.
But
Look,
if they-
Pokemon. I'm going to speak from experience here when I say just because you won the seat that you held at the last election, right, or in the last parliament, it doesn't mean you're actually going to get that seat. Just so
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
man.
He does speak from experience, I remember.
If I
But,
wanted a seat, I could get a seat, but I have said to Shan, don't give me one this term because I want to focus on my exams.
Yeah, but could I just add one thing on
No.
Pirate Lads? As a former pirate, Pokemon, you said you didn't deserve what's happening to you tonight, but in actuality, you kind of do, because as a former pirate, I was there when you guys were trying to form a government, and let me just tell you, it was the most chaotic thing I have ever seen a party trying to do. I mean,
What part of
you
it
guys
was
went after. No,
chaotic?
hang on. You guys went after me for like 2 whole weeks or something because you thought that I was the only reason your government failed, which of course is not true.
No one said you were the only reason. There was
You did. Your
a few
former leader.
reasons.
Your
No one
former
said you
leader.
were the
and all
only
your
reason. You were just a major reason. What is the point in coming to a party to sit in one of their seats just to be a pain in the ass.
I just want to
yeah,
quickly say, sorry, just to interrupt you, Mr. Bruce. I do want to say, for our viewers who are just tuning in, we have brought on Mr. Bruce, who is a former National, Social Democrat, Pirate, and Unionist.
Okay, I
Is that
just
all
want,
four parties?
whilst we're interrupting and saying whatever we want, I will do some seat declarations. Kent, a national hold. There is a recount in Finchley and Barnet. West Mercer, there is a Unionist hold. Montgomeryshire is a Pirate hold, and Lothane is a Social Democrat hold. I think that brings us up
It's
to 11
Lothian.
Unionists, 11 Social Democrats, 10 Nationals, and 5 whole Pirate seats. I might have miscounted
Wow.
now.
Oh, 5! We got 5!
But can I get back to my point?
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
So, the Pirate Party, I joined because I thought Boston was a great guy and he had a lot of good ideas. But in actuality,
You know, what
He
did
was
that
a
turn
bully.
out to be?
he was a bully. He was a bully. And, he made incredibly stupid decisions. He went after every single party, not taking responsibility because he should have gotten his MPs there on time for the King's speech, but he didn't. He didn't. That's why he's.
I don't think you understand the situation he was in.
Hang on.
Boston at this time was in and out of hospital, so he wasn't actually able to properly be there because he had to
Yes, and I get
cope with his
that.
hospital visits. He was able to attend practically just to vote. He wasn't able to properly attend it. So it was left down to others. And
Yes,
the main
failed to deliver.
the main issue from our side was you. You came and sat in a seat. No one did anything wrong to you, bearing in mind. All we asked
Nothing wrong. Nothing wrong. You didn't trust me. Day one, you didn't trust me.
All we asked
You
of
didn't
you,
trust me.
don't run for the
Wait,
speaker.
guys, can we calm down a bit? This is getting a bit boring because this is like from months ago. So,
You
you have anything
and
relevant
Catherine
to this
told me
election
I
to
couldn't
say?
run for speaker, did you not?
Do you Mr. Bruce? Do you have anything relevant to this election?
Yeah, well, I do. If Pokemon would ever be quiet for 5 minutes, but
Will you
look,
bring it up past if it's relevant to
King.
this election? Bring it up then.
look.
What do you have relevant to this election?
I'm just going to say, as a former pirate, I'm very disappointed with the results that they got. I thought they would at least put up a good fight, but of course they didn't. Barely even saw them on the campaign trail, and I was there every day. But look, I think the Nationals have done really well, and I think we should. And I also would like to point out that all of our parties have done horrible things, saying about each other, and I just think we should be more focused on bringing what we want to do to the country first, not trying to label ourselves as the Unionists would put it, saying the Social Democrats are communists or calling people fat. That's just wrong. It's just wrong. And people should be focused on what they want to do to change the server, how we can solve the problems, not focused on personally attacking people. And that's basically my point.
I think you're going to be ashamed if you're upset about people personally attacking other people, because that is quite literally most political attack ads. Is about like another person's inexperience, another person's mistakes in their past careers. Cough, cough, and nudge, nudge.
Thank you very much both for that. We are going to move on because we have a load of other speakers. I'm going to bring up current mayor of Middletown, Michael M. Rothschild, and TBU to have a word. Before they say anything, Carmarthenshire is a pirate hold. Devon and Cornwall is a unionist gain from the pirates.
Ooh.
In summary, 12 unionist seats, 11 Social Democrat seats, 10 national seats, and 6 pirate seats have been declared. Okay, hello everybody who's just joined. How are we all doing?
Yes. Well, you know what? You know what, Bush? I think. Hold on. Can I just say, I think this has been such a boring, terrible election. I mean, I hosted the leadership debates, and I almost fell asleep. I mean,
wasn't it, Michael?
It was just Sean, and he was only defending himself against Teaspoon and Harold. I even had to do some divine intervention and have a go at Teaspoon, but I mean, it was quite difficult to have a go at him or the Nationals because the manifesto was pretty decent. But I think something worth noting is obviously we'd see quite typical policies which just show how out of touch politicians are. I mean, I remember in a couple of my elections seeing a lot of policies. I mean, a lot of the parties, except the unionists, obviously, because we were never the party of career politicians. But I was going to say, yeah, a lot of parties didn't really seem to know what the hell was going on, so they just proposed policies for the hell of it. I mean, look at the Social Democrats, for example. They're proposing these trade unions congress and wanting to do some sort of anti-terrorism, anti-organized crime unit in the National Security Council. I mean, I don't even have to say it. TBU can say it, but what a stupid idea that was.
I mean, there's so many stupid ideas across the board. I think all four parties are pretty poor in general with policy output this election. I mean, you have a month to prepare all this stuff. You've got loads of nice big changes coming in. Basically, come with, let's put a committee back into statute. It's ridiculous. And you got folk in the political discussion going, "Oh well, it's the Lord's government's fault. It's all boring. It's all dead."
Actually, I want to ask you a question on that, TBU. That we
Yes.
obviously have heard quite a bit, from some people. I'm not going to say most, but some people saying that the Lord's government has demotivated politicians, that it's caused them to lose their spark a little bit. Now, you were part of that Lord's government, and might I just say, you did a fantastic job. Thank you for giving me two awards. You're much appreciated.
You're
But
welcome.
I want to get your thoughts on that sort of feeling.
Before we get those thoughts, I would like to declare a few seats, which might excite some people. Sorry, one more's just come in. Let me update that quickly. We have got Antrim and Londonderry, a national hold. We have Glamorgan, a Social Democrat hold. Hertfordshire, pirate hold. Sheffield, a pirate hold. North Yorkshire, a unionist hold. And Down, a pirates hold. As well as Cumberland, a national hold. Bringing up the current count, which must be very close to the end. Unionists on 13, Social Democrats on 12, Nationals on 12, and Pirates on 9. Bit surprising there, but
Pirates on 9. Wow. That's
anyway, TBU, your answer, please.
I think they need to get a grip, in all honesty. It's very easy to go out and blame the folk who've just fixed everything for you and say, oh, well, it's all dead because of you. It's not really. It's dead because your party leaders haven't managed to organise anything in the 1 month they actually have had to get their acts together. It's ridiculous. And yeah, you can say, oh, well, the Lord's government, there isn't a Commons. The Commons wasn't doing anything impactful anyway. So, yeah, it's just a non-argument for me.
The Commons didn't...
Sorry. Yeah, it's a non-argument for me, really, if you want to say it's the Lord's government's fault. Honestly, parties just need to take a look at themselves in the mirror and say, right, you know what, we need to change something and not just propose, I don't know, putting trade unions back in, or, I don't know. As I say, the committees one really angers me because it's like, we've got all this new standing orders and you're like, you know what, we'll just put the committees back in. That affects everyone. It's ridiculous.
And yeah, I agree, TB, and I think another thing that should be looked into is the fact that for political parties, I think. Wait, hold on a second. No. What? No, that isn't true.
Bush, announce it.
Absolute woke nonsense. Is a national gain from the Unionist Party.
Oh, this is ridiculous.
That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous.
It's set in stone.
Stop the count. Stop the count.
Can we get security in here to restrain them too, please?
This is a stolen election. I cannot believe this. Right, anyways, continuing on, I think
a unionist hold. We have, I believe, 3 seats left, something around there.
So I just wish, but I want to correct you on your earlier pronunciation of Lothian. That was terrible.
I do apologise.
Agree.
There's 2 seats left.
How do you guys know how to pronounce British places? It's terrible.
Hardly British.
2 seats left,
Jay. Let's move on.
Anyways, I just want to say, right, I think for parties in an election, I think it's been nothing but a disaster. I think political parties, it just needs to be one with a majority on their own so they can govern more efficiently. I mean, I can say with Bush, right?
Why do we have one party from the Lord's government managing everything? I think that would be an excellent.
Yeah, look what happened with that. We had one Lord. We had one Lord government with similar people, and they got everything done. Okay, now I will say with my coalition with Bush, right, most nationals in the cabinet were great people, but then you had people like Joshua Windsor, who, for no offense, Bush, but decided to give him this cabinet office secretary. He was absolutely useless, and then tried to bring down the government because I told him that he's an absolute wet wipe.
Michael, I have to quickly interrupt you in that we are now on the final seat declaration in just a moment, and it's neck and neck between the Nationals and Unionists. It's between Harold and Stuart now as to who might be the next Prime Minister of this United Kingdom.
Quite an insane position to be in. The last
you can tell, mate. You can tell Potts is dead when the Nationals are not under William Marino are actually doing well.
Anyway,
I think
I have no idea where it was from. Who's got it currently?
I think probably Nationals or Unionists. It's either one of those. Oh, look at that! Look at that!
Is a Unionist seat. Surrey is a Unionist hold as well.
So that means Harold's in the Unionists' largest party.
Wow.
Oh wait. So what?
Anyways,
am I right or am I right? Unionists, large party, National second.
Yeah,
call it at the beginning.
Yes.
So,
anyways, if I may, if
14 National seats, 12 Social Democrat seats, and somehow 9 Pirate seats.
That's remarkable. I don't know how they've done that.
But you know what? That exactly proves my point. I mean, people just simply do not know who the hell they're voting for. The votes are always so split. I'm actually surprised. I mean, even like with the last election when we were trying to stop Forward UK, I mean, the votes were so split that the only way we were able to stop them was a 3-way coalition with just a majority of 1 seat or something. I mean, they had 15 seats. We had, 14 or something, and Pirates had 13. And then what was next? I mean, even the last election as well, it was neck and neck. Pirates 15 seats and Unionists 14 seats. You know, the votes are always so split. We're never going to get a majority government like this. And then you also risk having coalition governments with the shittest people in the cabinet holding senior positions. It's absolutely outrageous.
I wonder where you got that from, Michael.
Not even in like in stupid places like Germany where they've got this proportional representation nonsense and they have to have these rainbow coalitions. They don't even have stupid people serving in cabinets, but for some reason we do all the time. We need to have 3 parties. Thank you.
I gotta say,
thank you very much for that, Michael.
What
I will say, actually,
I have to agree with him. You know, coalitions are meant to bring, the best people forward from, each respective parties, and as I have definitely been, guilty of, it doesn't always. But it would be very interesting to see what cabinet forms, if any, tonight.
You know what I say? Just Unionists and Nationals form a government and show those Social Democrats and Pirates that when you snake a Rothschild, you get absolutely hammered. Okay,
that should get banged.
This is the return of the Rothschilds. Okay, Bushbury, get the Nationals in a coalition with the Unionists. Show the Pirates and the Social Democrats that snakery is not rewarded.
Anyway, so Michael, quick question for you. How does it feel to have nearly been kicked out of the House of Lords during the Lords government because of your activity?
Well, it's very simple. I mean, when you're a working man like me, not unemployed, right? Like a certain someone in this VC. I'm not going to name names, Dino Heathcote.
I'm employed.
You just can't attend Lord sessions. I mean, I can probably attend Saturday nights at most, right? But we had like Friday sessions, we had Sunday sessions. I just couldn't attend all of them. Okay, you can't expect me to. I'm actually glad I left the Commons because otherwise I would have had a terrible attendance record. I mean, even in my last term, it was starting to look dodgy.
It was dodgy. I can confirm it was dodgy.
EC better pay me for this.
Also, I just want to say
I want to actually ask everyone here a question. Likely coalition. Who do we think is going to be Prime Minister?
Unionists and Nationals. If anyone does a coalition with the bloody Pirates or the Social Democrats, you're snakes. That's
It will be a unionist national government. I mean, that is pretty clear because, I mean, if you look at them, even if you look at the manifestos and the campaign, I mean, there hasn't really been a campaign. But if you look at like 2 messages they've ever probably sent, it's pretty obvious that the unionists and nationals are planning to do this from the very start. It's like there's no tax between the unionists and nationals and none the other way.
Very
It's
true.
pretty obvious. And I mean, can the Social Democrats or the Pirates realistically say, "Oh no, this is horrendous coalition"? No, they can't because they could have won this election quite bloody easily.
Wait,
if they prepared for it.
Wait, Bush, something's coming up on the teleprompter. You need to read it.
I'm a bit confused actually.
That's great from our presenter.
Oh, Dean's been
Oh,
elected
oh,
to
it's just-
Speaker's constituency. Well done, mate.
Yeah, Dean Party, yeah.
Dean Party, yeah.
And the whole crowd goes wild.
The crowd
God,
has gone
well-
very mild.
It was a pretty tough campaign, I will admit. The Green Party and Jeremy Corbyn really had me on the ropes in the Speaker's constituency. But I'm glad to have thwarted off that challenge.
Well done, Dean.
Twice forward UK has tried to get this Speaker's seat.
I knew Persian was running in that seat as well. Or his Arabian cousin, Arabian, I don't know what you'd call him.
By the way, I just want to say that the Pirates, if you look at the Pirate Party channel, Frankie Avery just said, "We are cooking." So, so going from the highest party to the lowest party to 9 seats is apparently cooking for the Pirates. Fuck me. What has happened to politics, man? What the fuck has happened?
It can't go on like this, can it? It can.
It can,
It can.
and it probably will do.
Oh,
Oh,
by the way,
really?
I will actually announce on this stream, by the way, that as I've been re-elected to the Speaker's constituency, which was created as per the Speaker Reselection Act for returning speakers, when they're obviously get back in via that act and whatever it stipulates, I will not be taking any party's whips, meaning that I am, I think, the first independent MP for about 4 years. So
Woohoo.
suck on that, Nathless.
Wow.
But I thought Nathan won.
Remarkable,
I thought Nathan won the election as an independent.
Well, he only won 1 seat because you can only win 1 seat as an independent.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
He
that's
won like
true.
40% of the vote, I think. Someone's
He-
going to bring it
He
up in
won
political
the
discussion.
elections. He won it in spirit.
Yeah. And then he created a Reform Party and then won a majority, won 25 seats, and then had a coalition with SLP's High Tories, I believe.
Old.
46% apparently Nathless won. 46% of the vote. That is kind of mental for an independent.
Nice.
And it says here you won
46%.
67.8% of the vote in your constituency against Edward Descartes' 32.2%.
Bloody hell, I can't believe Edward would
That's
do this to me.
Right, well, I guess it's sort of a wait and see what happens now, isn't it?
Yep. I mean, I've already asked the question of what coalition we think's going to happen.
Well,
but
there is an
we're
option.
all pretty
There is
much.
an interesting option that Louis Wellesley pointed out in political discussion.
Oh yeah.
And that is a national social democrat government. Do I
Are you
think
not-
it happen?
Oh God, the
Oh,
Nazis are back.
Oh, no.
Huh? This election results very much reminds me of the ZC Sunnyson's election results.
Oh God, fucking hell! Don't say
Oh,
that
no,
at
no,
that
no,
time.
hold on. I won 3 or 4 more seats than the Nationals or Social Democrats, so let's get that corrected.
Okay,
I won a
so you'd get a
clear
little less
mandate.
snake this
Yeah, but
time
you weren't
around.
prime
Yeah,
minister
yeah.
afterwards, though, were you?
Yeah,
That's-
no, I was Prime Minister, but I had to remove ZC first, and that worked out in my favour.
God,
That was a
fucking.
really good stream. Do you remember that unfolded on the BBC? Did that stream? You did your speech as well. All
I,
that.
I fucking hated that government. Jesus Christ!
Oh,
I was in, I was
That,
in,
like, Matthew
I was in the cabinet GC when that happened. Oh my God! I cringe about it now.
To this day, I still offered Sunnyson's the deal that she could just become the coalition partner in the unionist one. Didn't take it, but that's fine. We move on. We move on.
And
My
look where that
party
us
got
to.
there in the end.
When you think about it, that moment actually led us to the unionist pirate coalition with you and Barrand, and then
It did.
that had some. So that decision had a lot of like. That actually like the domino
That's had
effect
a lot
is
of
crazy when
impact.
you the domino effect is crazy when you actually like analyze it.
Because it kind of flipped the political spectrum around, whereas the Unionists and Nationals were really close before.
Yeah.
The Social Democrats and the Pirates were close before, then it just completely switched.
I mean, I
So,
will
yeah,
say
no,
what
I
I'm
agree.
Yeah.
what I'm looking forward to, by the way, just to interrupt, is the document that the EC officer are going to put out hopefully in some moment's time with the results on it, and then we actually get to see what the turnout is, because it'll be quite interesting to see if turnout has actually
Well, we
plummeted
did say
or if it,
turnout at the
you
very
know.
start, but albeit that was even before
That was before you joined, D. I'm pretty sure.
before
Oh,
the
was it? Oh,
Ducklands.
probably.
It was. I think it was.
What was the turnout?
It was. I think I can't remember the exact number. But I think it was 2 below the last election.
No, I believe
And then
it
we
was,
all.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah, I remember
I
now.
believe after
Well,
a
I want to see that
recount,
on
it was
paper.
about after a recount it was about 4 under. I think.
I'll be honest here. I expected a lot less than 4. Like I expected a lot. Like
I have to agree.
I expected like 60, 50 less. Like
Mm.
this campaign's been fucking atrocious. Like Jesus Christ.
I do apologise, by the way, to Offcomp for Pokezilla's swearing. Like, on his behalf, I
It's
apologise.
mate. That shouldn't be a fucking rule in the first place, mate.
Oh dear
That
God.
shouldn't be a rule. Sorry.
Oh,
I really
dear.
hope there isn't something in our contract about swearing, because we are not getting paid if that's the case.
Shit, balls, fannies.
TBU, can you confirm? Is TBU still up here? He's not still up here. Ah, okay.
Thank God. Let's bring
Right.
Seth up.
Anyway. Yes, let's bring on Seth. Let's get his reaction, I suppose, to the results. Hello, Seth. How you doing?
Hello, yeah, I'm doing good.
Former
Yeah,
pirate chairman.
Do-
Hello.
yeah, I am.
So hold on, Seth. What party are you with now?
I am with the Nationals now, believe it or not.
Right.
I thought we went back to
I've
the
changed-
Pirates.
I've changed wings completely.
Wait,
How many times have you changed the party this week?
He's been a social democrat like
Yeah, one.
2 weeks ago.
I was actually I was a Social Democrat once, but okay, that's fine.
Actually,
Actually,
God, what was it? What was it with people and changing parties so often these days? Right. Anyway, so Seth, as a national, as you said, what do you think about the results? Do you think Stuart's going to be prime minister at the end of this? Do you think he'll form a coalition like the SDs or something like that?
Well, I think he's going to form a coalition with a realistic, partner, the Unionists. I mean, they've always been together in coalition, so it's quite, obvious that's what's going to be, government.
I mean, do you think it's conversely? Do you think it's likely though that they'll be shut out by the Unionists, perhaps, or do you think that the Nationals will subordinate themselves to the Unionists and let Harold take charge as prime minister?
I don't really know, really, because but I think that Stuart will probably end up being a deputy prime minister, if I'm being quite honest. Yeah.
Very quickly, I will give a shout out to V0_BSM. Cool guy. I might have spoken to him like once or twice. I don't know, but he clearly is a cool guy. He's a server admin. That role just means you're a cool guy, right? I mean, we all love server moderation, right? Right. Anyway, excuse me. So, Seth, do you plan on becoming an MP for the Nationals, or are you a candidate for the Nationals at all?
No, I'm not this term. No, I'm
Oh, okay.
I'm standing idle this term, really. Because a lot's going on.
Yep. People are now really asking for shout outs. I'm not doing that. I did one. Actually, I'll shout out Besco. They're a D-Team partner. I guess just as a follow-up though, Seth, so you left the Pirates, obviously. From what we've seen with this election, the Pirates have taken a massive beating. They've been, shot down now to 9 seats, which is obviously was something I think a lot of people saw coming, that they would be obliterated. As a former Pirate yourself and someone who was chairman and, obviously didn't end on good terms with them, do you have any reaction to that result for the Pirates?
Well, I mean, we are on good terms now, obviously, but it was I was kind of expecting. I think everyone was kind of expecting it, and I'd assume Sean was also expecting it. But it isn't as low as I thought it would be. I would have thought it would have been like way lower. maybe like 6 seats or something like that. I was thinking, but they did better than I thought they would do, and I think all they've really got to do now is rebuild, and they'll be okay, especially in the rebrand.
I'm
Mhm.
kind of can I challenge you on this? Like you said, like I remember Pokemon said this about like we're gonna rebrand, it's all gonna be okay. I don't see what is rebranding gonna do for you realistically. You're gonna rebrand to Lil Party and then get some mentors with some teachers who aren't really there. Like I don't buy this at all. How is it
Not
how is
really in the
going
Pirates
how is
anymore.
changing your name and your logo gonna make you like, oh, we're suddenly gonna be amazing? Like I don't get it.
Well, I'm not really in the Pirates anymore, so that's not really a question to ask me.
That's
But
true. Yeah. I forgot about that.
you know, it's you know, I think eventually they'll get there. I mean, I know Shani sort of he's bright when it comes to strategy sometimes anyway. So I think eventually they'll get there.
As just has been posted in the Pirate Party channel, lowest seat count in May, highest in July. So I guess they're already looking on to the
Why are
July
they so
election.
Why are they so shameless? Can I ask that question?
Hold on a minute. Oh, wait, let me read this.
It's the most shameless party ever, bruv.
I'm sorry. Frankie, I love you, mate, but what's this?
This is why this is why I have to use party chants professionally, guys.
I mean, no, I'm not even going to complain about the fact it's there. I think it's just what he wrote. You know what? Okay. If a pirate representative does want to come on at all and tell me how they're going to become the largest party by July and what kind of plan they have for that,
Yes,
please
yes,
do
please-
come on.
Please
And
do
feel
that.
free 123
Um,
an immediate DM if you want to come on.
Yeah,
Any party, but
because
specifically
I
the
do want
Pirates,
to
I'd
hear
love to
this. But honestly, Seth, I don't actually have any more questions for you. Poke, Bush, do you have anything?
No, nothing from me.
Nothing from me.
No, fair dues, fair dues. Well, I'm sort of becoming the host here. I've just realised. I do apologise, Bush.
No,
I'm
don't
usurping
worry.
you here.
You are used to this. I have noticed you can't just like do this automatically. Is it like an instinct for you?
It happens. But thank you, Seth, for being here. What I do want to see is,
pleasure.
Bush, have we heard any word from the coalition backrooms at all? From any negotiations going on?
I was about to say you're suspiciously quiet, Bush, but I wonder why. I wonder why that is.
I will say it won't be the fastest deal we've ever seen.
Oh my god!
So it almost definitely won't be announced on election night itself.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be here for 2 hours.
Oh, for fuck's
I'm
sake!
afraid.
Oh.
Yeah, that's all I can say at this time. And
Well,
I have
then.
to say, I'm not super involved anymore. I'm not writing out the deals myself.
I know, but like, mate. I thought you had all this like. I thought you and Eunice were like buddies. I thought you would have done this beforehand. Like, it's quite a common thing for nowadays for parties to plan their cabinets even before an election.
Buddies.
Do you not do that?
Buddies, perhaps. Organised buddies, perhaps not. I'll leave you with that one.
We are actually getting reports right now that Ben Henley has been seen walking into the National Party headquarters. It appears he's been ordered to negotiate a deal at any cost with any party. The order comes directly from CZ Investor, you know.
Who a Prime Minister, ever a Social Democrat, cold. Cold negotiations.
Oh, lordy lula. Well, again, assuming here that we the Unionists and Nationals are certainly talking with a wide variety of parties. Probably the Social Democrats, I must imagine. The Nationals are probably in talks with both the Unionists and the Social Democrats here. Bushbury, as a National yourself, you still are a National, right? I'm pretty sure you are.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm now interviewing you. What I want to ask is, do you think the Nationals are more likely to subordinate themselves to Harold and get a coalition where they are the junior partner? Or do you think they're likely to try and take charge of a government themselves with the hierarchy and the Social Democrats if the option is open to them and they successfully negotiate a deal? Which one do you think they're likely to take?
Or not what I think is going to happen, what I'd like to happen. If the National Party has any sense, they'll go with the Unionist. Because no offence to Social Democrats, they can't keep government together. Absolutely not. If you want the 2 months, you need to go with the Unionists. It's simple as that, in my opinion. And I hope that's what
Do
they
you?
do.
Yeah. I think Edward Lytton harmed us a bit in that sort of aspect. Oh,
I have just got actually the document has just been released in the election news
Yes.
channel. The document here, and we have it on hand now. And it does appear that the total
Very
number of
interesting.
valid votes is just 330 for the valid votes. So that's
oh Christ!
interesting.
Has 4
Taking
UK
a look at the
come into
votes
this?
themselves here, it was a 2 vote difference between the Nationals and the Unionists for that
Wow.
1 seat difference. It was 2 votes difference.
Look how dead these numbers are. Like, mate,
And not a single party got over 100.
the biggest
not a
party
single
got
one.
93 votes. What the fuck? Oh my god, this.
Oh,
We are cooked. We're cooked.
insane.
Like
Yeah,
90
this election map has a real lack of non-geographical speakers constituency.
I mean, even
I
if
was
I,
really
like-
hoping for an island off on the side.
Like, let's work this out a minute, right? If so, Unionists, the biggest party, got 93 votes. That's the most. That's the most they actually got. That's the most. That's the biggest number of seats, and they've got serve members. How many? 377, 357. So what's that? 357 divided by 93. So they got like. So that's what's that? Like 38%. Like, is that it? Really? Like 38% of their server voted, and they suddenly won the election. Like, is that
That is how it is.
Is that the state we're at nowadays? Like, oh man.
Oh,
Oh,
man,
no.
indeed.
I mean, as we said in the start of the stream, this is only the party leader's fault. This is not the Lord's government fault. This is not exams' fault. This is their fault because they had 1 month, all of them did, to prepare for this exact scenario, this exact election, and they've fucking fucked it. And am I shocked? The thing is, right, what I was going to say beforehand was that the Lord's government cannot be blamed because the fact is, the Commons at the moment cannot keep up with the Lords. That is just a fact. There's no talent in the Commons to actually match the Lords in any aspect. You look at you could look at justice, foreign affairs, home affairs, treasury. No Commons MP realistically is better than the Lords in that aspect. None of them are, and it just speaks to the fact that there's no innovation at all in politics anymore. Politics is dead at the moment. It's dead as a dodo, and the only way you're going to revive that is to be different as a leader. You got to be different. You got to find different ways. You got to innovate to actually win elections and win seats. And nobody's done that. Nobody's done that. Have you seen the manifesto policies? That's not innovative. That's literally pulling shit out from like 5 years ago and going, oh yeah, it's still relevant. Mock trials, like it's just frustrating because it's so, to me at least, like for someone who's I'm not even very good at policy. It's so easy to see from here what you have to do, and it's to be innovative and do something different. Even Forward UK, like as bad as they were, they did something different and they got rewarded for it, even if half the votes are probably like not legitimate. Even if you got half the votes, they were still doing something different and they got traction for that. So weirdly, you could actually probably learn a lesson from Forward UK in that the fact is you need to do something different to actually like progress in this landscape. And no one's done it this election, and you can see no one's done it this election because of the vote numbers. No one cares, because why should they care? Why should anyone care? Realistically, why should anyone care?
For those just tuning in to the Pokezilla live on air crash out, the largest party in the UK general election for May 2025 is the Unionist Party. They have pulled ahead by 1 seat with the National Party in second place. Social Democrats just behind them as well. But, of course, in dead last, the Pirate Party, completely obliterated and left in several thousand million pieces. So, just a quick recap there for those who are just tuning in, if they are just coming across this stream link and wondering what the bloody hell we're talking about. So it's just a very,
Just to
very,
have a look
very,
at something
very
interesting. Louis Wellesley just posted in political discussion historic election results. And I'll just go through party by party. The Nationals are the only party to have increased their vote count, being the highest since the 2nd August 2024 election. The Unionists having the lowest vote count on record going back to January 2024. The Pirates matching with around January 2024. And then the Social Democrats doing about the same as they did last time. But, the last 4 elections have been rather poor for them if you look at just raw vote numbers.
That's because of I mean, even if I'm associating up with myself, I'll say this: the reason why the Democrats have reached this what's the word? Flatline, I guess is the word. They've reached this they haven't progressed at all. Is because they did exactly what Dean told them in his statement, his resignation statement, not to do, which was just do the same thing, because they've done the same thing. They've done exactly the same thing. And has it worked? No, it has not. It has not. Which speaks to what I'm saying earlier.
I wrote that back in January? My God, I was smarter back then.
This is what I mean. You said this in January, bro. January. And we're in May now and nothing's changed, realistically. It's just... I just don't, yeah. Sorry.
A question I want to really wonder here is that we're going to get a coalition no matter what. They say that's just how the system is. It's always, you get coalitions. Always on Parliament, you always have to have a coalition because no party in this climate will ever get a majority. Now, with that in mind, what you normally get is that the two parties will combine their two platforms. They'll combine them. They'll work out a King's Speech and a legislative program of a combination of the two parties. Now, no party had really anything remarkable. I will say that the DNC Mark did an amazing breakdown of the manifestos in both political discussion and a Discord channel that was created specifically for that. And he did a really good breakdown of the policies and why some of them are okay and some of them are dog shit. And I just sort of think we're going to be seeing a lot of these filler-esque policies in a King's Speech. We're going to be seeing a lot of that. And we always will. We always have. That's just how it is. What I think is just the saddest part of it all is that we had a month of change. We had a month of things being reformed and redone by the Lord's government. And now what we're going to end up with, I think, in a week's time, is when we have the state opening, we're going to see a King's Speech which is no different to a King's Speech of any other term that we've seen in the last 2-3 years. It's just going to be slop. Is basically what I'm trying to say here in long form, which I think is just the most tragic part. I think that's just something that's going to happen regardless of who forms government right now, because again, none of the parties had anything particularly revolutionary. The Nationals, according to those reviews, pretty much came out the best from it, but nonetheless, not great, I think. And that's obviously going to be quite depressing to see in a week's time. And obviously, hopefully, I'll be speaker. Hopefully, I'll be, presiding over that session. And I really do hope to be part of any political, parliamentary reforms that are done. I hope that the speaker has some sort of role in that, as the speaker is meant to be the ultimate figure of the House of Commons and technically the Houses of Parliament at large. So I hope to have a role in that. But it's really up to the government. The ball is in the government's court on what they want to do, and I really do hope that the leaders, whoever is prime minister, is by tomorrow, is watching this stream and they take it to heart and actually put together something that is different for once. But I'm not holding my breath.
I'm not. I would not hold your breath, because I think the issue with that is that I think the Lord's government now, because this has been a month, this Lord's government, they've set a standard where the Commons in their state at the moment is not going to match it, no matter what they do, because the Commons are just so much the Commons are so much worse than Lords. I don't think it's ever in the time I've been active in this community, I don't think it's ever been the gap of quality has ever been as drastic as it is now. Like the Lords are the only people right now who could actually innovate at the moment. The Commons is just recycling exact same policies for like the last 2 or 3 years, realistically. And the MPs that we're hiring, I mean, are they even human? I don't.
You
Like,
know what I want to say?
are they
I know a
human?
lot of people. I know a lot of people post it are going to be tuning into the stream, and they're going to absolutely hate both of us and Bush and everyone who's been on the stream. Basically, said the parties are terrible. They're going to lambast. They're going to counter argument with, "Well, you guys keep on talking down to us, so why do you don't be surprised when we don't do anything?" We're talking down to them in the first place because they don't do anything in the first place. But also, that is the opportunity to improve. The Lord's government was ample opportunity, I think, for the parties to look at themselves and go, we really need to change things up a little bit. Like, we need to do something different. We need to just sit down and actually figure out who we are, what we want to do for the community, the kind of people we want to be, and actually act on that. And not a single party did that. Not a single party had any self-reflection. And this is the kind of verbal abuse they're going to get in return. Like, until they actually do something different and do something meaningful, and then it's our job to hold them to account for that. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't endorse bullying, but I do feel like bullying is a very good incentive sometimes. And I think a lot of like former leaders from like pre-2020, even like pre-2022, will probably agree with me in saying that bullying can be a very good motivator sometimes. And I don't mean bullying as in genuinely being personally harassed. I mean bullying as in being told like, hey, you're doing a bad job. Do a better job, please. Thank you. Because it shouldn't fall to the Lords who are people who have like basically retired and are like doing other things in the community, like, whether or not they're leading a service, whether or not they're in the armed forces, whether or not they're in the civil service and whatnot. They're doing like more lax roles than policy making and being statesmen. It shouldn't fall to them to clean up the Commons mess every year. Like, that just shouldn't be the case. In an ideal world, we wouldn't need Lords doing this. We wouldn't. In an ideal world, we would never see a Lords government. But this is not an ideal world, so we have Lords governments. In an ideal world, we'll never see a Lords government ever again. The Commons will take on lessons, and we will have a generation that is actually able to govern. But I'm not holding my breath. That's probably the catchphrase tonight. I'm not holding my breath. But that is, I think, the biggest takeaway here that parties should have. All of them share this takeaway. The Pirates got obliterated. They definitely have some takeaways of their own to do today, and the self-reflections of their own. But even for the parties that won big today, the Nationals, the Unionists for actually being able to still be the largest party, and Social Democrats as well to an extent, they should definitely. They need to just look at themselves and think, we need to do something different. We can't just keep doing the same thing over and over and expecting politics to keep on surviving, because things do need to change. Anyway, that rant is over. Bush, any indication of how negotiations are going?
Look, I won't say much, but I will say it's getting messy all around.
Ooh.
Messy.
It is not a clear deal. It is not. It's not shut and cut. It is.
There are handbags being thrown.
I'll have to agree. It is. It's a bit of a mess. That's what I'll say. It's a shame, but.
And I feel like one thing, by the way, that I'm just looking at political discussion here, and one thing that people have mentioned, and I will mention this on the stream for the record, is that low turnout definitely helped every single party at this election, especially the Pirates, to kind of blunt the force of obviously being completely obliterated by a lot of their original members and their sort of core base just leaving and no longer being part of the party. Low turnout usually does benefit the smaller of obviously like any number of parties. It usually does that. So honestly, the Pirates in a high turnout environment, the Pirates probably would have suffered way bigger losses. But I think low turnout definitely helped them a bit here. But Sean should definitely not come out of this thinking, "Oh, bloody hell, we survived! Look at that, lads. We're not too bad after all."
I wouldn't be parading around saying we're going to get our highest election result in July.
I wouldn't say we're cooking.
you wouldn't celebrate having your arm and leg chopped off and saying, "Oh, at least I survived that one."
At least
Like
I
that
still got
wouldn't
my head.
be your way. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, at least I got my head. Yeah,
Has anyone in politics got the head anymore?
Oh, exactly.
a lot of them are missing a fucking spine.
Ooh.
And a brain.
If anyone wants to come on air, send me a DM. I want to hear some more people. As much as we love Dean.
As much as I love me, which I don't.
As much as you hate me.
Oh, come on, don't talk for me though. I can say that myself. I hate you.
Oh, fuck's sake.
But no, really. I think another thing as well that has to be mentioned is that, and this was a comment I think Louis just mentioned in political discussion, and I'm again going to say this here on the stream, that this should have been a bigger election. And I'm not saying that just because, like, oh, you had a month to prepare. Like, I don't just mean that, but I mean, it's May. Like, it's like, I'm sorry, like, come on, it's the middle of the year. Like, come on, ample time. The weather's beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, don't touch grass. Sit at your computer. Come on, do things.
And adding to
Yeah.
that, there's also the circumstance and the context in that this was the chance for any party to take the mantle from the lords who have basically laid the foundation for how to successfully govern and actually do reforms and actually do something. You could this is the opportunity to take that and fucking get a rocket ship and go bang right into the space of it. And
yeah, that is a really good
guess who
point.
did?
Actually, every single party had the opportunity here to take charge of the narrative, if that makes sense. Like, you just come out of a Lord's government. Like, in theory, it was a blank slate. If you think about it, it was a blank slate. The parties were all pretty much put back to square one. They all had a blank slate. They all could have reinvented themselves, and one of them could have certainly put themselves, several steps forward. I feel like, and seized initiative. But again, not a single one of the parties did this, and I feel like for the Unionists, they do have a massive history, I feel like, of being complacent. And I think I said this on an election a few elections ago. They have history of being complacent and thinking they deserve to win. I feel like there is a culture of that at the Unionists, and Lord and behold, they're the largest party. So, I guess that's egg on my face there. I think the Unionists do just have that culture in them and that sort of thinking. I felt like the Social Democrats could have absolutely taken initiative for themselves. I mean, they were, of course, in a coalition with the pirates. It was kind of the taint of that government and what went wrong with the speech and whatnot. But they could have certainly reinvented themselves a bit and spun the narrative. That's possible. Parties have pulled that off in the past.
I think, honestly,
Unionists and Nationals, the argument was written for them from the start. They had the argument of, we're not the pirates and Social Democrats. We didn't cause the chaos. Vote for us. We're going to restore order. And it just feels like none of them took advantage of their situations because none of them did any proper. None of them took advantage of the month that they had.
No, nobody had any prep, and I think honestly, every single party should be ashamed of themselves because they had a massive missed opportunity here. I think especially, I'm going to call this out. I think my own party, the Social Democrats, I think they could have had a rocket ship going on in this election if they actually put the effort into it. Because even if they were the party which failed the King's speech, they've showed in their 4 messages probably since the last election, they showed they were trying to split off in the pirates a bit, and they could have actually shot off to the moon with that narrative of we've reinvented ourselves. We're going to offer something new to this community, which is something that we haven't actually truthfully done in a very long time. We're going to actually offer something new and innovative, and then go and the Unionists are the traditional party. The pirates are the party which is going to get a beating. And National Party, you could say National Party the exact same as they've always been. The Social Democrats are the only party here who could have really grabbed the momentum and run off to the moon with it, and they didn't. And I'm very disappointed in that they haven't really actually done that.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree with that. And I think on top of that, what I will say is that I'll disagree a little bit. I think in saying that I think the Nationals obviously they've come out of this really well, and obviously in previous elections I had been saying on when I was hosting election nights, I'd been saying oh well, this is it, the Nationals, they're going to get absolutely mullered this time, guys. It's still death score now, and they've come into this election and they've obviously in my opinion, I feel like they've pulled ahead of the other parties in terms of
I agree.
at least done something a tiny bit different in that. I guess compared to other elections, the Nationals actually put together a campaign for a start. Which again, credit to Stuart. I think he has a future in politics. I really do think he's got a future ahead of him there. But it just it's the whole situation is just miserable. I think I feel like any other year with any other cast of characters, we would have had a very exciting election where we would have had proper tension, proper debates, proper everything. But from day one of this election, where there was basically no campaigners in the game, which is the only way you can basically campaign now and actually meaningfully gain people. I think it's just completely miserable that throughout that entire week, by the way, and I was on every evening except Friday, I think, I saw quite a few Nationals on the first few days, and then I think the Social Democrats, there were a lot more on the final few days. There were a lot more Social Democrats on the final few days. There were some Pirates sprinkled throughout, and then I saw 2 National campaigners during the entire week, and I was on quite every evening bar Friday. And I feel and the Unionists are the largest party right now, so I guess we can now go with Westbridge campaigning. The takeaway, I guess, would be Westbridge campaigning is useless now. But I disagree. You can really make it work. I mean, look at Forward, for goodness sake. I mean, bloody hell. They had 10 people on every single day because they got an army of droids and drones to basically slave away for Persian, which worked wonders.
Go and say,
yeah, go on.
I've put out a little poll on the YouTube channel in the chat. What coalition deal do you think is going to happen? And, from what I can see, which, again, I won't reveal much, it's almost like the conclave. It is, you walk into an election, a government, and you're walking out in opposition. It's quite remarkable on the lack of certainty in what government's going to actually form. But go ahead, move on.
Yeah, just to finish up that thought, I think it just says a lot, though. The Unionists barely turned out on Westbridge. They barely did anything. From what I saw, and again, I have no party loyalty now. I'm independent. I don't care about any of the parties on a party political level or in terms of partisanship. I don't care. I did not see. I saw 2 campaigners from the Unionists throughout the entire campaign. I saw Unionist figures in the game, but they weren't campaigning. They were just standing around doing their own thing. And I feel like that party could be that could be the governing party of the community in a bit. After tonight, Harold and that party could be governing. And I know I'm not doing wonders right now for my speaker re-election campaign by obviously saying everything I have about all the parties, but I mean this all with love. In that I want you all to improve, but you're not improving right now. So this is all meant with love in mind for politics as a whole and the community at large. But I just think it's shambolic to me. I don't think any of the parties would have deserved to win if any of them won. But the Unionists, I saw 2 campaigners poke Bush. I saw 2 campaigners for them the whole week. And I just, a part of me really thinks how, but I also already know how, because it was a dead election and the result reflected the size of the party servers, basically.
Yeah.
Essentially.
This is basically, I think this entire election was won by get out the vote. I think that's what won the elections, personally. I don't think in-game campaign
that's what
mattered at
dictated
all.
the result.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just with all of that in mind, it's, I don't know. I just think this is one of those elections where, yes, it was uneventful. Yes, absolutely nothing remarkable has happened whatsoever. And in fact, if anything, this election night broadcast is probably the most exciting thing that's happened the whole week. But that all said and done, there are some massive lessons to be learned from it regardless. There are some massive lessons. And the biggest lesson of all being parties need to try, because none of them tried.
Yeah.
I think the only one that had a semblance of trying was the Nationals, but they all need to try harder and better, because they can't just sit here winning 90 votes and being largest.
They have actually done, they've gained votes. First time in many elections, I will say. The only time they've ever gained
Oh, yeah,
seats is
true.
because of reducing vote turnout, not actually gaining any votes. So I will give it to them. They did better than I thought, absolutely.
You did what? I mean, you say give it to them. You are one of them.
Hey, fine.
So
That is true.
Yeah, he's really giving himself a medal there, isn't he? He's like
Yeah.
the Obama meme.
Literally do what you Obama me.
Well, I've got nothing else to say. I don't really want to repeat myself
I know
all night,
it
but
is.
I
I will say
yeah,
it is
I mean, I'll
now
pass it over
quarter
to you.
to 10. It's been an hour and 45 since the exit poll.
I'd be shocked if we didn't get a unionist national government.
Well,
That's
if we
my
take a look at the
opinion.
poll, which has had a whole 11 votes, 64% of people think a uni-nat coalition will happen.
Yeah.
Before we end this broadcast in probably a few minutes' time, I just want to quickly say that on behalf of the Independent, who I am not employed by, but I'm going to say it anyway, thank you, Rohan, for making this election work from a technological perspective. Rohan, you're a legend. Thank you for doing that. What a guy.
Clap for him. I can't. There you go.
And also, thank you, combatants. Combatant, you are
Oh,
a
yeah,
legend.
absolutely.
Thank you for running this election.
I mean, I have to give credit to the EC. I mean, can you imagine having to run this election? I'd be bored out of my mind.
Again, give all your thank yous to combatant. What a guy. I mean, seriously.
I am. I give full credit. Congrats to him, because bloody hell, I couldn't do that. I couldn't sit through that shit. Jesus.
But yeah, I've got no further comments. I've said everything. But Poke, any further final comments? And Bush, you can sign us off.
What I would say for just a quick final comment is that I want to echo what Dean said, in that I think the last message I want to say is that I want to say to all the parties, you need to try and you need to be innovative, because this election is what happens when you have a completely dead political scene, completely created by your own incompetence. You cannot blame the Lords, you cannot blame the exams, you cannot blame fucking your nan tripped over on a fucking stairwell. You can't blame any of that, because the fact of the matter is, you could have changed this, and you haven't. We could have had a good election this election, and your incompetence has cost everyone of that. So just try harder and do better. And just get good. Just get good.
Oh, honestly, Poke, it will be a miracle if you get a seat after tonight.
Yeah, mate, I'm cooked. I am cooked.
And I will advocate for you. Somehow, I'm not allowed to, but I will. Anyway,
I gotta say what needs to be said. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Anyway, Bush Bray, as the editor of the Independent,
Oh, yeah,
all over to you.
Well, what a night it's been, and it's a shame it hasn't drawn to a very clear conclusion, albeit our poll is suggesting otherwise, which I'll just end now. Perhaps we'll see the 71% of you that voted for a uni-nat likely coalition. But that's all we have for tonight. Thank you all very much. Thank you to the Electoral Commission, those on the ground, Rohan, and of course thank you to the lovely panelists and all the guests that we've seen tonight. But that's all we have. So thank you very much. And I will see you next time, and hopefully I'll be giving you the announcement of the government, the new government, very, very soon. Thank you all.